ResortLoop.com is proud to be sponsored by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. Joffrey's now offers coffee subscriptions. You can order a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription. You can choose from 3 collections: the Flavored Coffee Collection, the Roastmasters Collection, or the Disney Signature Coffee Collection. Each collection includes 3 bags per month. With the Joffrey's Coffee subscriptions, never run out of great coffee again. Learn more and order at Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
The body of water that you see to the right of our forward motion is the Seven Seas Lagoon. The Seven Seas Lagoon is a man-made creation that took 3 years and the removal of millions of cubic yards of earth to complete.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. This is ResortLoop.com. Thrilled to be joined by, say who you are, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm Jeremy.
You are Jeremy Hunt. You're joining us again. And joining us on the show, friend of the show, you heard him from Holidaython 2020, Mr. Victor Nawrocki. Victor, thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. Before we get started, I just want to throw out there that Victor has graciously decided to become a sponsor of ResortLoop.com. So I just want to get that out there as a full disclosure. But Victor, today, we wanted to talk about, because a lot of people who listen to the show are hoping to someday move to Disney.
Yes.
So for our first show, though, we're going to talk about the over 55 communities. You've sold a lot of these. Right. Tell us about the over 55 communities around the Disney area.
Okay. Well, first of all, an over 55 community, to qualify as an over 55 community, when it's new construction, 80% of the residents have to be over 55, at least one person in the household. No one under 18. If they're under 18, they can only stay either 30 days to 120 days per year. That's in the HOA documents that you sign up. Resale homes, you have to be over 55. But new construction, they'll allow 20%. So that's why, if you want to get into a community because you really like it and, you want to get in there at maybe 45, 50, then you'd have to go the route of new construction if you want to get in there. So a new construction home being it hasn't been built yet or it's an inventory home. So, and they do, they allow you to have your grandchildren there for a number of days. I don't really know if they monitor it strictly, but they do have restrictions on how many days they can be there. Like I said, 30 to some say 120, which surprises me. And what's great about them is that they all have terrific community features. For example, they'll have a community pool. They'll always have a gym. And they'll have activity rooms, and they usually have an activities director. So the activities director will maybe plan excursions, games within the community. They'll have parties and things like that. So it's really got the structure that people like, and then you don't. Now, some would say this is a negative. You don't hear kids playing. You don't see the activities of families. But on the other hand, this gives you more of a community feel. Now, many of my customers will tell me that once they get in, that they've met so many people in the community. They made some fast friends. They go out and do things with them. They go shopping. They go to Disney World with them. It's sort of like, I sort of said to one of them, it's like the first day of college where you go in and all of a sudden you make your friends for the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. So, and what's great about being in a new construction community, because everybody's at the same level, while it might be a little harder when the houses have all sold out and you're buying a resale, some of the people will say, well, it was a little harder to get into the community feel. Now, because when you buy a resale, they don't give you anybody who's your ombudsman. Sometimes they'll have someone who is the person that in the community that greets them, takes them around, goes to dinner with them. When you're buying, they'll do little activities like get you involved in some groups and things like that. So you get to know the whole how the whole community works. You don't get that when you do a resale. So that's why new construction is great with the over 55 communities. Another good thing is they're always gated. There's none that I can think of. Well, there's one that I can think of that's not gated. It's more of a mobile home type with single family residences and really good bargains. I got to tell you, if you don't want the burden of a mortgage, and it's very close to Disney. So, and they're all fee simple, which means you own the ground underneath your property.
I was going to ask you that.
Yes, there's a lot of confusion with these communities, because there's a lot of communities that not only I can't sell in, I strongly tell people not to buy in, because you'll be buying like a modular home and you're renting the land underneath.
Yeah. You have the lot fee every month, right?
Yes, and there's a lot fee. And well, there's one near here where I'm looking at the land and I'm going, that's $100 million worth of land. That's $100 million worth of land. And they're not making the type of return on that money. So when they find and get an offer for $100 million, they're going to say to you,
goodbye,
take it home, and you can bring it somewhere else.
There you go.
And what's going to happen is they're not made for real travel. They're 20 years old. They're going to be damaged along the way, and they're going to be worthless by the time they get to their new place in Lakeland. And I'm going to tell you, I had a customer that went and bought one, and she absolutely hated it. Called me and said, "Can you sell it for me?" I said, "No, I'm not a car salesman. You'd have to go to someone who sells cars." And she ended up having to leave it there, and she wasted like $50,000.
Oh wow!
She couldn't sell it.
Right.
And she couldn't pay her lot fees anymore. They were too high. They went up twice in 2 years.
I know you're going to be describing the different communities, but before you do,
I give you all the warnings.
Yes, no, I appreciate that.
Before you do, though, I'm curious, because of the exclusive nature of these communities, does it mean that they have a better resale value, opportunities?
Well, I wouldn't say that it was like significantly better.
Okay.
Because it's a smaller clientele. You have to be looking for that.
Okay.
So I would say that, yes, they do have a good resale value if they're well kept. And that's one great thing about an over 55 community. I really haven't seen any that have fallen apart, become dilapidated, where the HOA is weak. Because around here, if the HOA is weak and if they're not paying attention, yes, it could be the first community to start to decrease in value. But a over 55 community by its nature is really a strict HOA. So I would say for that reason, you're going to always drive in that community and you're always going to find it upkept. And they also, I don't think if someone sends you a note from the HOA and says you need to have your house painted, you know what? I bet you there'd be a lot of people in that community that would say, okay, let's all pitch in. And, it's just got such a great community feel that is so, the only way I could say is it's exemplary, that you just go there and you're making friends, you're sharing information. One of my customers is in charge of the Facebook account for the community. So, they go online and they say, and we do this here. Who knows where to get good fencing? Who knows where to get interior paint? and they all throw in all their advice immediately. I see the posts. So I would say for that reason, it has better chance of maintaining its value than a poor HOA. There are some HOAs that I've seen where, it's $35 a year, but they've got nothing going on for them, and the houses are becoming dilapidated because nobody's sending the notes saying, you got to fix this, you got to fix this,
right.
And we did have a lot of trouble here in 2008 with that, 2008, 9, 10, 11, where everything seemed to be going downhill. But the HOAs that were active really kept the property values as high as they could go. And now they're reaping the benefits of that because the communities around here are fairly strong. There's nothing that I can think of that's not too many that I would say, don't buy in there, But so the HOAs here are, some people hate them. They want a house without an HOA, and I can completely understand. For those who don't know, it's a homeowners association. You pay your fees each month and they maintain the community features. So if you have a community pool, if you have a community gym, they maintain it with those payments. That's one of the benefits of having an over 55 community is the very active homeowners association. So that's what keeps your property values up. But you want to make sure with an HOA that you're, getting things that you're going to use. There's some, I'm writing an article now for my blog post about resort style pools.
Okay.
How
Interesting.
some communities that have resort style features. So if you're a single person, maybe you don't want to spend $200 a month for the resort style pool because it's only you using it. But I always say, if you got a large family, you're getting such a good deal. I've got one community up here. It's $200. Maybe $225 tops, depending on what size. It's not an over 55, but there's 3 resort style pools. There's 2 gyms. There's a mini golf course. There's volleyball courts. There's a fishing pier.
Wow.
Now, if you're going to use that, well, then it's a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to use it, like me, who had that for 5 years in Celebration, and I never went to the pool. I never used any of it. I did use all the walking trails and all that. I loved that. But I never used the pool. In fact, Celebration, getting off the track of over 55s, Celebration is probably regarding their HOA fees, I think it's the best deal in town.
Really?
And surprisingly, it really is.
You just surprised me. I would not have thought that.
Well, think about it this way. I pay $75 a month, okay? And then there was an attachment to my taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I was paying like $150 I had a modest home there. Now, I had 8 miles of walking trails. I had 5 pools. Now, one of which is heated all year. You have all these community activities. It's beautiful when you drive in. It's always well kept.
Fact.
And you drive out of your community and you're in Disney World. So it was great. But for what my house sold for, I got a house that was twice as large with a water view. So
wow.
It's a give and take.
Right.
Talking about over 55 communities, back to that subject. So they're all gated, and there's 3 I really want to focus on because they're no more than 15 minutes to Disney World.
Nice.
If you go to my website, Disney@YourDoorstep.com, I have links there so you can watch videos on some of the communities. For example, there's one community. Now I have 2 closings in this same community. I actually sold 2 houses on the same street, 3 houses on another street. Unbelievable to me, because this has that house community opened just about a year ago.
Wow.
And I've already sold 7 homes.
Wow.
I've got 2 more showings in April. So, I mean, it's been bizarre. But when I bring people there, 50% of the time they buy.
So what community is that?
Okay, that's the Palms at Serenoa. And really, I would say that the prices start at let's say $260 right now. That's for a villa.
Okay.
To $360. Let's say that. And what you would get is, for the villas are like townhomes, and they have 1 unit on one side, 1 unit on the other. They pay a little bit more HOA fee for the maintaining of the property. And, you get 2 bedrooms and an office. It's really, it's a nice, like retirement downsizing property.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
It's certainly downsizing. I have too much Disney stuff for a house that size.
Garage or no garage?
Oh yeah, 2-car garage.
Okay.
Imagine that. I only had a 1-car garage in Celebration. That was the big deal with me. I had to get out of there because I was like, I can't even get my garbage cans out of my garage. So it was a little too tight for me. So, and then it would go up to a 3-bedroom home. They all have covered patios. I call them lanais, but then it has a great community center. And when the fireworks are going,
yeah, I know.
I want my fireworks back. When the fireworks are going, you can see them from the community.
Wow,
that's awesome.
So it's nice to be not so close that it's booming in your backyard.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But you see them. It makes you feel like you're there. An example of that is when I sit on my lanai at night, I hear in the Seven Seas Lagoon, I hear the ferry boats.
Oh.
I hear the electrical water pageant.
Oh, wow.
From the Seven Seas Lagoon. And everybody who lives here says that we used to hear the train.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
To hear that tooting, and it sort of makes you feel like you're part of the magic,
mm-hmm.
To be that close. So that community, the Palms at Serenoa, okay.
What town is that, Victor?
That is Claremont.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
really? What?
Yeah, that's Claremont. Now, it's like, I'd say it's 6 miles as the crow flies.
Okay.
From Disney World, okay? But right now you can't, unless you have a drone, you're not getting there that quick. So, but there is a new road, which is a top priority of Orange County, to connect Lake County to Orange County through that road that it's on. So it should be, like, I would say 10 to 12 minutes door to door. Now, I always say when you get into Disney, you're in Disney no matter where you're going. So, you know, yes, there's more places to go. But 12 minutes door to door. Also, Flamingo Crossing is right there as well. Mm-hmm. You'll be passing through that.
Wow.
Which is really coming together, by the way.
It really is. Yeah, I was out there, and I kind of feel like by the end of the year, we're going to be, we're going to see some of the shops opening.
Agreed.
I don't know which hotels have opened yet, but
there's at least one open out there that I saw. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, well, there's two. There's 2 at the corner, and I always send my customers to stay there because they're very fair price. They're like $80 a night some nights. And,
does Disney know about that?
What?
Does Disney know about that?
Well, Disney owns the land that they're on.
Somebody must not have told somebody.
And I think we need to mention that this area you're kind of talking about, if no one's aware of it, you don't have to take I-4 to get to the parks. You can avoid that whole fiasco.
Yes, once you get there, that's your last stop at I-4. Now, I would say you take from the airport, you could take the 417 to Osceola Parkway, you're there.
Right. That's my favorite way. Favorite way.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy. It's so easy. You don't have to get onto the 4. So that is the Palms at Suranoa. I would say they're about halfway built, and that's been in like a year and a half, maybe. So it's something, if they build at the same speed, you're going to be looking at resales in 3 years only.
Mm-hmm. So still a good time to get in.
I think so. I think, I mean, it depends. Everybody's got their own time frame. I don't like when people, feel the pressure, I mean, we were talking earlier that, the people saying they have to buy something, as long as you're not going over your budget, maybe, don't feel the pressure, but understand that right now the prices are going up each year. Nationwide, they went up 16% this year.
Wow.
Last year it was 11%, I think 7 before that, then 11 and 10. So to put that into perspective, a house that I was looking at, and because I wanted that fireworks view, was $315. That same house is $450 now.
Wow.
And it's not built any differently.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, now they're trying, and they're trying to make their money. And I think I kind of feel like, it's just like, I feel like they're taking advantage in some cases. Mm-hmm. But in some cases, I see the value. I mean, I see it. It's always supply and demand. Most of the builders around here do not have any supplies. They don't have lots that aren't spoken for. So they're releasing them in phases, and they'll immediately sell out that day. Then you have to wait 3 weeks to a month, for the next phase to come in. And those prices go up. I mean, so I hate when people feel forced to do it, but don't feel forced, but just understand it is going up and it will continue to go up. If there is a market correction, please tell me what you think is going to lead to that.
But also, you're in Orlando, you're next to like a huge, like maybe the most huge tourist attraction in the United States, and that's probably a given.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest tourist attraction in the world.
Yeah.
So it's not like the area is going to become less desirable.
Right.
Exactly. And it's sort of like I look at like lakefront lots around here. I just sold a lakefront lot, and I kind of go like, these are all sold out. There's nowhere that I see that they're building around a lake. There's no lakes available. They're all built around.
Wow.
What's going to happen to those prices?
Mm-hmm.
When it's like sort of like I say, now I'm not predicting this for anybody, okay? But when Golden Oak is sold out, if you want to live near Disney, what are you going to do if you want Golden Oak? I would say that that's probably going to be the surprise investor special. Where you're going
to back up your truck full of gold coins, and you're going to say,
"Yeah, here I got
one of these."
Because if you say, "Well, I want to live there," and you're going to say, "Sorry, I paid $2 million. I want $4 million."
Right.
Yep.
You want to live here because 98% of those people paid cash.
Wow, my goodness.
Yeah. So now the other community that I like, the two last communities in over 55 communities, are Kay Havnanian's Four Seasons, and that is built on the Mystic Dunes golf course. Nice golf course. I do not golf. I think it's boring. I wouldn't want to do. I tried 2 minutes of it, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to make it to the second hole. Anyway, but It's beautiful scenery, great builder. One of my favorite builders is K. Hovnanian because I like the way they design. They just seem to really improve.
Okay.
And I can tell when I walk into a home if it's K. Hovnanian, you know. They are like on, if you're familiar with the 192, they're at like Formosa Gardens. And when you pull out of their driveway, and you go straight up the street, you're at the 192. And then you could choose, you're in 2 minutes, you're inside Disney World.
Wow.
So, but it's an over 55 community. It's got, a great clubhouse. My customers bought before the clubhouse was completed. It is also more than halfway done. So you're probably, I guess they're maybe looking at 1 to 2 years left to build, but it's beautiful, all one story, except if you get a loft.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they're really, it's really exquisite.
What are we thinking about pricing in there, Victor?
Well, that one's a little bit higher. You're going to be probably in the 4s when you're done.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit pricier. Now the first community I mentioned, the way they keep their prices down is by having packages. So I like to see that when I'm in the design center, because it simplifies everything for my customers, because I know I've seen customers come out of the design center a little shaky.
Oh, with all the upgrades?
And they go, I didn't really want to spend that much. And because they're picking their carpets, they're picking their paint, they're picking, cabinets and countertops. And I went through it myself, and I spent $40,000 more than I should have, because I'm like, as long as I'm doing it, I might as well do it right.
Right.
Well, certain things you can wait till later too. I always say, if you're handy, like I have one customer who said, give me the basics on everything. And then he's going to change it himself. Like he's going to change the baseboards, and because when they gave him the price, he's like, no, I can do that for a lot less. That community say, okay, for $15,000, here's your upgrades. You go from granite to quartz. You go from 36-inch cabinets to 42. You go to a better carpet. They do not carpet the bedroom. They do not tile the bedrooms. They carpet them, and you'd have to, if you wanted them tiled, you have to do it later.
Okay.
But it's a $15,000 upgrade. That's it. And then they have a couple of little features that you may want to order, like a screened-in lanai and things like that. But that's what simplifies it. Now, K. Hovnanian is a design center. You go there and you're picking all these different types of faucets. You're picking all these cabinet colors. And they have huge selections and tons of different tiles.
That's making me have anxiety right now.
That's what starts to bring the price up.
Right.
Now, sometimes I find that it's really great when you can find an inventory home. That's where all those things were picked out. Okay. The house is getting ready to be finished, and now it just needs an owner. And if you like the stuff that's going in, score. If you hate it, not good.
Maybe not.
I sold a house. I sold a house that was $550, and I said to the people after they signed the contract, I said, "Oh, it's good. I'm really glad. Do you like what you saw on the list?" And they go, "Oh, we didn't even look at that." And I went, "No, but that's the cabinet colors and the countertops, and you signed." And they're like, "We don't care."
Oh my goodness!
And they got in and they absolutely adored it.
Oh, there you go. It all worked out.
Like, yeah, but what if it was red?
Yeah, right. Right. Then you're a sitcom.
They said we bought red cabinets. So that's that's the Mystic Dunes, Four Seasons at Mystic Dunes. Mm-hmm. They have a great clubhouse, all the same features of everybody else, beautiful pool area, lots of outdoor entertainment area that's screened in. Same as Palms at Soranoa. And the last one I want to talk to you about is the Oasis.
Ooh.
Now that's going to start selling I hope in the fall, and there's a wait list.
Oh, wow.
There is a wait list, and they haven't even started selling yet. And you got to get, and let me tell you, if they're telling you there's a wait list, you put your name on it. It doesn't cost you anything.
Okay.
Sometimes they will ask you to get pre-approved for your loans, or you get pushed in the back towards the back. Sometimes they'll ask you for proof of funds, but it doesn't cost you anything to put your name in.
What gives us such a big waiting list already?
Well, let's talk about
Let's do it.
I'll tell you why.
Because it's super cheap, I'm guessing.
No.
Oh, you should have seen his eyes.
No, it's not going to be. It's going to be. It is by the same builder that did Del Webb Orlando and Del Webb Sunbridge. Both two. Del Webb is probably the biggest name in over 55 communities. They've been building them for I would guess at least 40 years. Del Webb Orlando, which is not far from, probably 30 minutes from me. Beautiful community, terrific community center. In fact, it's got one of the nicest ones that there's available. And that one's so this is more, they're calling it a boutique community.
Oh.
So that means it's smaller.
And more expensive.
Yes, it's going to raise the price because the land's expensive that it's on. Because when you drive out at Disney World, through Western Way from Coronado Springs.
Mm-hmm.
I did a video and showed how close it was. It was less than 2 minutes that I was there. I was looking at the Disney sign in front of me in less than 2 minutes. And I was laughing because I'm like going, don't ever tell me you're close to Disney because these people are going to be closer.
So is it literally right off of Western Way somewhere, or do you hit that side road and take a right?
Go down Western Way. Anybody who's familiar with that, it's about a 3-mile drive maybe down Western Way, and you're still on Disney property.
Mm-hmm.
You go under the 429 freeway, which anybody in Winter Garden knows.
Mm-hmm.
Get onto the 429. I'm sorry, you go under the 429. Sorry, you turn left, and in about 45 seconds, you see the community.
Wow.
Yeah.
So basically, if you have a slingshot, you can be like slingshotting the animals, the animal kingdom from your house.
That statement is not approved by the Realtor Association. So anyways, but you can, they're going to have, what they said is they're going to have a observation deck from the tavern that they're having in the community that will overlook the Disney fireworks.
No way.
No, man.
Wow.
Could you imagine you're at home?
Right?
Let's go have a drink. You go have a drink. You're sitting out there watching the fireworks.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
And that's why there's a waiting list.
Where did you get that?
Yes.
That's the waiting list right there.
That's why there's a waiting list already. I've got 3 people on my waiting list on there already. The builder has 13 different models available, so it's not going to be cookie cutter. It's going to have it, and it has I haven't seen one thing I'm looking forward to is to see an animation of the community center, because it's going to be petite, probably 14,000 square feet, right? I think something like that they said. So it's not huge, but it's not a huge community either. So it'll have a pool, have a gym, all that kind of stuff. I'm assuming that the HOA fees are going to be higher than normal because there's not a lot of people contributing to it. So I think that, but 2 minutes to Disney World.
And these will start for a low price of what, do you think?
Well, they haven't announced anything. I will tell you that the other community that's built by them starts at the villas, and they're going to have a villa.
Okay.
So it's a 2-bedroom with
a
little suite. That starts at $270. So
It's not as bad as I would have thought.
Right.
I would say that it's going to be. I'm gonna guess that we're going to look at $350 for the starting price.
That is not nearly as much as I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. Well, it's a 2-bedroom now, but the 2-bedroom that's only a couple of miles away. Okay, with maybe more reasonable HOA fees when that road gets in, because the road that's going to connect Lake County to Orange County and the Palms at Surrenoa is something that's really been planned for a long time. When that road connects, I don't know if you're going to be seeing $270 there.
Right.
Starting price. I think the lowest price I saw was $250. And because that's going to be only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 miles more. Right now, to go from Palms to Surrenoa to Disney World, that's 25 minutes. It's something that is it worth it to you to live 2 minutes to Disney World and pay the more money? It depends on you. I say, why don't you be, 5 minutes to Disney World and not pay all the money?
Right.
But everybody has different priorities.
Well, if you're an over 55 community, and chances are, you've commuted your whole life, and at that point, least amount of time in the car, the better.
Well, I want to tell you something that frustrates me.
Okay.
Because it drives me crazy, and I deal with it every single day, because I know I sell only to Disney fans. Not prejudiced, but if you're not a Disney fan, I don't know if I can help you.
There you go. Good to know.
Because there's something psychologically wrong with you. But no. So, but people who come here, who I'm talking to, and we were talking about this earlier, people who come here and say, I want to live near Disney World, I always say to them, why? Why? What is it about Disney that you like? Oh, I would just love the idea of coming here and being able to come anytime I want. And, it was always such a struggle living in Indiana, in Iowa, Milwaukee. I'm thinking of all the communities that people have come here from. And I go, great. She goes, as long as I'm an hour away. Okay. And so my next question is to them, how many things are an hour away from your current house that you like?
That you currently drive to.
Right.
That you will get into your car and drive to. Would you drive there just for dinner? No.
That's a really good question.
That's awesome.
Yep.
No, I wouldn't. I love the Jersey Shore. Okay, when I was in Jersey, I could get to Long Branch in an hour and 15 minutes if I'm off season. Okay? Would I do that to just grab a hot dog? No, I would absolutely never do that, because an hour to get down there, an hour back, no, I wouldn't do that. So why are you saying that an hour away is okay? Because locals here don't go for the whole day. We go for a couple of hours at a time, unless we're live streaming. But, we go for a couple hours and we turn around and we go back. When I go to the parks, because I'm still working, I may go online. Well, when we had fast passes, and I would schedule a 3 o'clock, a 4 o'clock, and a 5 o'clock. Right? I would get there at 3:45, go to my first fast pass, go to my second fast pass, grab an early meal. 5 o'clock, I'm done by 5:15 with my third fast pass, and I'm out of there. And I haven't wasted the day, and I haven't driven an hour to get there. Now,
and the worst part is that drive back, because when we were in the Daytona area, we did Disney like that for 10 years. The drive there is not so bad because I'm going to Disney. But then when I'm worn out
and you want to be in
Epcot
bed,
and I got to drive an hour back, I didn't like that.
Yeah, listen, it's nice if you're going to go a couple of times a year. Then I would say, sure, Deltona, Lakeland, great. Spend the whole day at the park, maybe stay in a hotel. You're in Florida where the weather's better. But if you feel like you're going to go to the parks a lot, proximity is everything.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, and there's still, I think, some decent houses prices around here. Some of them need a little buff up every once in a while. But I've seen, I've seen houses in the 300s. I know in Winter Garden and Windermere, which are the higher priced areas. I've seen, some nice things in Claremont's in the 2s. I've seen there's so many different areas that you can be very, very close to Disney and really take all the benefits of it. My customers, I become Facebook friends with all my customers. And I'm watching them vicariously at the parks. They're posting every day. Here I am. My friends came into town, and we're all going to the parks. I'm like, wow, that is great.
Yeah.
Because they're really getting a use out of being close by. And I don't think you do that when you have to spend the whole day going.
No.
It doesn't make sense to go for, when you live an hour away, to go for an hour.
And you're not going to have friends staying with you if you live an hour away either. I tell you that.
I go in and I will zip in, and sometimes I'll just, I'll go to Disney Springs just for the pizza, Blaze Pizza. I love the movie theater there. I know, of course, I haven't gone a lot since COVID. I don't even know if it's open yet, but I just love that whole Disney Springs area. And I can zip there. Now that's a little far because it's all the other side of Disney. But I could be at Grand Floridian in 5 minutes. I can be down to Coronado Springs in maybe it's a little longer, like 10 minutes, because I have to go all the way. You have to go around stuff. But if you look at the map of Disney World and you see Cinderella's Castle, this is what made me decide to move there. You look at Cinderella's Castle and you just go directly over. It looks like 1 mile to me. There's my house.
Wow. Nice.
So what I love is the people in my community will they'll go on Facebook and they'll say, "Did you hear that whistle from was that the train? Were they testing the train?" And they're like, no, that was the ferry. Oh, darn it. And we go like, and they also have like, I was saying earlier, the electrical water pageant. I hear that at night. For the first 2 weeks I was here, I saw the fireworks every night, and that was wonderful. And what's great about it is I feel like I'm part of the magic,
Yeah.
You feel like you're, and I think, when you're on the monorail tooting into the park and I don't know, I just think of all the little kids that are seeing the castles for the first time.
Right.
It's always so nice to people watch because you do get a little jaded, if you can go to the beach every day, the beach, and we do it. But when you see the kids going there and you hear the music, you're going like, oh God, I know everybody's having a good time.
Right.
That's why I think it's now, is it in the price range of everybody? Probably not. And I understand that.
Yeah.
But so there's other areas that you could go to where you have a better, good access to Disney,
Yeah.
But so I mean, honestly, you have to always weigh, with any home sale, you have to weigh the benefits to the price range.
I'll tell you what.
And so, because I always tell people, don't live for your house. You can't, if you're going overboard, you just, I mean, I honestly, I see customers doing that and I cringe.
Right.
I really do cringe. And I always try to keep people, I don't like to look at people's finances, because I'm not, but I see people sometimes spending double what they should.
Wow.
And then they say, well, we got approved. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But I want you to think about what if the worst case scenario happens, What if one of you loses a job? What if you have a medical expense? What if, if you're so tight on paying that each month for the next 30 years, what if the worst case scenario happens? But in this marketplace, the reason I don't feel like we're going to see a lot of foreclosures, because there's some loans are being pushed back, like people are giving, not giving forgiven, but they're just not being penalized.
Gotcha.
When those come due, there might be some foreclosures, but I think because the property values have risen so much that they'll be able to walk out free and clear.
Mm-hmm.
So, which could not happen in 2008 because the prices went down so much that people were just walking away from their second homes. So places like Davenport and Davenport really got hit. There was 40% of the sales in 2008 were foreclosures.
Wow.
Yeah. So 40%, and we're talking about thousands of homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a realtor, and very naive and cocky like the young boy I was, and I said, I want to buy a foreclosure, which I think is the best thing an individual citizen can do is take the foreclosures off the market, take it away from those hedge funds that are just buying them up.
Mm.
So what happened was I said to her, I'd like a foreclosure. And she went, "Oh, Victor, this is Davenport." Like it was, and I'm like, what do you mean? Really? There's no foreclosures? And as I was driving with her to the first place she was trying to sell me, which was new construction, I saw foreclosure, 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 foreclosure.
Wow.
And she kept telling me about what a beautiful day it is up in the sky. Oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Squirrel.
And I'm like, yeah, you're trying to get me to not look at the foreclosure signs. I mean, honestly, that type of, this is another topic, but that type of deception, telling me there are no foreclosures is absolutely, for 3 years, I sold nothing but foreclosures. And, I did have one person say to me, well, you're taking advantage of other people's losses. I said, yeah, better than me than a hedge fund, because the hedge funds were grabbing up stuff. And you didn't have, if they found a community they liked, that they thought had good potential, every time one went on the market, it was gone the next day without looking at.
Wow.
That happened a little in Celebration, where people were they list the house, boom, gone.
Well, Victor, let me brag on you. I'll keep it quick, and I won't make it embarrassing. He talked about not living for your house and making sure you get the good use out of it and all that. I think you loopers probably know that Victor helped us find our home. And I just want to say this little piece of it is where Victor shines, because he didn't try to sell us a home. He tried to help us find a home that we would enjoy. And I can tell you that's not the experience that we had a couple of times prior. And so if you're trying to move here, especially in the Disney area, he's not going to try to sell. He's not going to take you in and say, hey, well, here's one for you, buy it. He's going to try to see what you need. And he's also going to be this is probably shocking, but he will be outspoken and advise you if he thinks you're going off the rails. And so just wanted to say, I appreciate that about Victor.
Well, we did look at one home that I thought was a waste of money. I thought because if you say you want to buy something, I have to sell it to you. But I was so relieved. Because I just thought it wasn't built right. I thought it wasn't renovated right. It was a great little area, but
yeah, I know which one even.
Yeah, that was but that's like the thing that with this lady who was saying, she took me to 2 houses, folded her arms, and said, "Which one do you want?"
Wow.
And I was like, "I'll think about it," and I left. I mean, it was, and then another agent called me and I said, well, I was looking for foreclosures, but there's none around. She goes, who told you that? Now, this was really before I understood, looking on websites and things like that and how easy it was. I think it's a lot easier even now. So she was like, she sent me a couple listings and I went, okay, I'm in, because they were good deals. They've gone up about at least 30, 40%. So, I mean, talk about a pool home for $200,000. My gosh, where are you going to get that? You can't get that now, but it was certainly something that I was looking for. But yeah, there's what I do like about this area is there is a lot of diversity, but people don't see it because they come to town and they go to, maybe they stay on International Drive or they stay in the parks, and they don't venture out at all because they're paying to be at the parks. Why would they do that? And when they do, they go Tampa, they go, SeaWorld. They don't go and, drive around the communities nearby and, take advantage of some of the things the locals do. But when you do, you realize, my God, who knew Windermere was here? You drive out of Grand Floridian Hotel, and instead of taking a left, you take a right. And you go up a couple of miles, and there you're in one of the most beautiful bedroom communities that you can imagine. It's a really relaxed area. It's got great shopping for groceries. And then right up the street, you go by going up Winter Garden Vineland, you hit Winter Garden Village, which has all the shopping that you need from, the Lowe's, the Staples, the Petco, the Target, And if you go out by Coronado Springs, that's where they're building Flamingo Crossing, where you'll have 29 restaurants and shops. So, including a super Target. That is going to be a really hopping area. And it's right there, right outside the Disney World. But, nobody turns right when they go out of,
right. That's right. Follow the signs.
Floridian. So for me, living so close, I just, if I want to go to the parks, what I usually do, my little trick, is I will go make a lunch reservation at Grand Floridian, pull in, park, have my lunch.
And hit the monorail.
And I'm there.
There
and
you
then
go.
I either take the boat back or I walk. and I'm parked. I mean, I get free parking anyway, but that parking lot is quite a bear, especially without the trams.
Yes.
And when it's really, so I don't like going through. I'd rather have my lunch, do it that way.
Great tip.
So yeah,
it is a great tip. I'll have to try that.
Yeah, I think it's great because the Grand Floridian Cafe is not too much money. I mean, I get a shrimp salad for $17 and an iced tea, and even by giving a $5 tip, I'm out of there for $25.
Yeah.
But
last time we walked in from the parking lot, I felt like I needed a Sherpa.
What?
Last time we walked in from the parking lot out there, it is, without the trams, it is a hike, y'all. You need a backpack, walking stick.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it is. So
camp stove, everything.
I know. That's why one of the reasons I like Hollywood Studios and Epcot for us locals. I like it when I can just walk into the park. But for people who are coming there and they haven't been there a lot, I remember the moment we got on that monorail when I was 12 years old.
Oh yeah.
I remember holding the bar with my father. I remember looking at the Contemporary Hotel and saying to him, "What's that?" And he was like, "Oh," and my father studied up on it. He was like, "Oh, that's the Contemporary Hotel." And I'm like, "Oh, wow. Why didn't we stay there?" He said, but what was so sweet, and I said this in his eulogy, was that he said, "Oh, well, they're booked up for 2 years." And I was like,
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
He called and asked. I thought that was great.
Oh, there you go.
I thought that was so sweet.
Victor, we need to wrap this up, but I want to have a real quick question about the over 55 communities here. Now,
You mean the topic?
in these communities, do you have to worry about any kind of short-term rental thing going on in there? Or is that all?
No. You got to be careful, though, that your agent knows the area when you're buying a home. And that's not to put any agents down. But I've seen agents, because I read the blog posts of Orlando agents where they're saying, oh my God, I sold this house in a short-term rental community and we closed and they didn't realize it was a short-term rental community.
Oh my gosh.
And I go, and I'm like, what do I do? And first of all, there's nothing you could do except expect a lawsuit.
Wow.
But the thing is, did you pull up the HOA documents? And, it will say on there what the rental policies are. And if it says leases must be a year, then they don't allow short-term rental. Also, someone who's buying should cross-reference, go on to like HomeAway.com and check to see if there's any listings in your community.
Oh, okay.
If you're aware of the area. Because first of all, but the primary thing is, they say when you sign your contract, you're supposed to get within 3 days your HOA documents. So it will say on there if you can do it. But over 55 communities do not allow short-term rental. None of them would. None of them.
Excellent.
So and Winter Garden, Windermere does not have it. It has to be allowed by the town and then the community itself within the town.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Victor, thanks so much for joining us on the show. And I think it just goes to show that if you're considering moving to Disney, if you want to put Disney at your doorstep, as Victor would say, he's probably one you want to contact. He could help you out through the whole process.
DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com.
Excellent. Well, show notes.
That'll be all my links. I put all my links right there. It goes to Linktree. Put all my links. So if you're a Facebook person, it's there. If you're a YouTube person, it's there. My website's there. Some of my key videos are there. So
awesome. Okay. Well, Victor, thanks for joining us. Jeremy, thanks for joining us also.
My pleasure. Appreciate Victor. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you. We just heard where Victor is. Jeremy, where can people find you and your new podcast?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at JeremyHuntFL, and the podcast is Walkabout WDW on Instagram also.
Wonderful. I'm Tim Scott, ResortLoop.com, Facebook, Twitter, and ResortLoopTravel.com. Everybody, thanks for joining us. You've been listening to The Gateway to the Magic. Thanks, Victor. We'll see you real soon.
Thanks.
Vacation memories will stay with you and your family for a lifetime. The Resort Loop Travel Group was created with this in mind. Our fee-free services will relieve you of the stress and confusion of finding and booking the best vacation at the best price. After booking, we will continue to monitor for ways to save you even more on your vacation. We will check for any upcoming packages and discounts to save you as many vacation dollars as possible. Resort Loop Travel Group, gateway to your magical vacation memories. Get a quote, or for more information, visit ResortLoopTravelGroup.com.